Baltimore Ravens take on the Philadelphia Eagles Sunday afternoon at the bank. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. We are in for a show. We're diving into all the details of this matchup in this game preview episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans, Eagles fans? My name is Ryan. Welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got an absolute banger this Sunday afternoon. Ravens versus Eagles at the bank. Ravens are favored by 3 at home, but a lot of people are saying the Eagles are the more complete team. It's pretty close. Eagles are playing some really good football. They've won 7 straight games. Elite running back, elite wide receiver, great quarterback. The Eagles are going to pose some problems for the Ravens and vice versa. You know, the Eagles haven't played anyone like the Ravens either. The Eagles are on a 7-game win streak, but if you look at those 7 games, I mean, none of those teams are even close to what the Baltimore Ravens bring. I think this is a unique challenge for the Eagles and the Ravens. Both teams haven't played teams like this year, so that's why this matchup's so exciting. But let's dive into it. We'll start with the injury reports, or at least what we know so far. It seems pretty straightforward. I think with the Ravens, most likely looking at Kyle Van Noy potentially missing this game, and then also Michael Pierce may miss this game. He's just coming off IR this week. He's, I think, truly questionable, but Roquan Smith was the other questionable piece, and he had a full practice today after getting some limited sessions in. He was out last week against the Chargers. I definitely think Roquan is ready to go and will be playing in this game. And then moving over to the Eagles, they are getting Devontae Smith most likely back, who's been dealing with a hamstring. He's been practicing this week, so I would expect him to be back, but I think they will be without Darius Slay, their cornerback. He's still out with a concussion and hasn't practiced at all. If you haven't cleared the concussion protocol, usually by this point in the week, there's no chance of you playing Sunday. So I don't expect to see Slay out there. That is a loss for them for sure. And this game's going to be a battle of the trenches. I think most football games are determined by who wins the battle of the trenches. But in this game specifically, with how dominant both teams can run the ball, which defensive line, who are also both very talented, can slow the other team's run game down. That's a big point in this game. It's a big storyline. I think that the Eagles' offensive line has been blocking out of their mind, creating a lot of good opportunities for Saquon. And then Saquon, man, it's an elite player, an elite athlete. He's going to make people miss. He's hard to bring down. He's elusive. He's fast. I mean, he brings everything to the table that you would want from a running back. And then when you also have a line creating holes like that, it becomes a nightmare to stop. But the Ravens are the best run defense in the entire NFL and pretty much every week hold teams under 100 rushing yards. I'm not saying that Saquon probably won't have more success than anyone we've faced, but this is the hardest run defense that the Eagles have faced all season long. So it's truly a challenge, man. Who's going to actually win that battle of the trenches? You know, does the Eagles offensive line get the best of the Ravens D-line, or does the Ravens defensive line and having Roquan Smith just cause more problems than the Eagles are used to, and Saquon gets slowed down a little bit? I think that that is a huge factor in this game, and that's going to be the main focus for the Ravens defense. It is every single week, stop the run, you know, make the team one-dimensional, and that isn't easy either because the Ravens pass defense throughout the rest of this season hasn't been great, but the last 2 weeks they've looked a lot better. But they always struggle going against elite wide receivers, and that's definitely what you got with A.J. Brown. And my main concern with a guy like A.J. Brown is the Ravens' corners struggle to find the ball in the air. You know, they're pretty good at coverage. Yeah, they're usually in pretty good position. You know, Brandon Stevens, even who struggled a lot, is usually on his guy. Nate Wiggins has been like glued to his receivers. Marlon Humphrey has the best coverage grade in the entire NFL this season. But A.J. Brown always wins at the catch point, and I just feel like is that type of receiver that is going to win contested catches against our corners. Even if we slow down the run a little bit, can we hold up and not have A.J. Brown just winning contested catches even when he's covered? You know, if I'm Jalen Hurts, I am throwing to A.J. Brown constantly, even if there's a corner close to him, man. I'm telling you, he's going to win a lot of those catch points. So I just think that causes a lot of problems for us. I think the Eagles are going to be able to move the ball for sure. But the Ravens defense has been playing better than it has all season. We got 2 weeks in a row here where we played Pittsburgh and LA Chargers, and we've looked better than we've ever looked all season. So I think this defense is definitely on the rise. We switched our safeties. Kyle Hamilton, our Darius Washington now playing deep. We benched Marcus Williams, cut Eddie Jackson, who were a lot of our problems. And then getting Roquan back this week is huge for the run defense. We're getting great play from Marlon Humphrey. Nate Wiggins is on the rise. I just think that the Ravens defense is playing better and better and better. So I don't want to sit here and say that we can't stop the Eagles. I think that the Ravens defense can have a successful day. They just present a lot of challenges. And then another factor for the Ravens defense to worry about is Devontae Smith, who is a great separator. He's not going to probably win as many jump balls or contested catches as a guy like A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith can separate, and he's going to be another challenge too. If he was out in this game, I think the Ravens defense would have a lot more success putting all of their attention to A.J. Brown. I still think a lot of their attention should go to A.J. Brown, but I'm just saying they still have other weapons, especially if Devontae Smith is playing. He's someone you have to worry about. He's going to get some separation. Then you got Dallas Goedert coming across the middle of the field. The Ravens have been most vulnerable in coverage across the middle of the field, so the Eagles got a lot of weapons, not to mention Jalen Hurts runs the ball too, so there's so many factors for this Ravens defense to worry about. I got a lot of respect for the Eagles. I think this is a big challenge for the Ravens defense. I think they're up for the challenge, especially at home, and have been playing their best ball these last few weeks. I mean, just last year, this same unit basically, I know the coaching staff and a couple guys left, but the majority of this Ravens defense was a part of the defense last year, and we were the number one defense in football. And then this season, our pass defense has struggled a lot. Our run defense picked up where it left off last year, but our pass defense has been extremely vulnerable. But that has changed since we switched to safety. So I do expect the Ravens to play better. They're not the 32nd ranked pass defense anymore. I'm telling you right now, they're not that bad. But that doesn't mean that the Eagles aren't going to be able to move the ball. I do see them scoring some points in this game. I think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game on both sides of the ball. We'll get into the Ravens offense in a second, but they present just as many challenges as the Eagles offense presents. I don't care how well the Eagles defense has been playing. The Ravens offense is no joke. Neither is the Eagles, and I think that the main focus for the Ravens defense starts with stopping the run. Obviously, that is always mission number one. At least slow the run game down. It's not like Barkley's not going to get his. He's going to make some plays. He's going to break a tackle. But we need to make sure that we're gang tackling. We need to make sure that we're bringing a fight to them, man. This defense has got to play pissed off. You can't be playing soft. Not that we usually do, but I'm just saying we need to make sure that we are putting all of our focus on stopping this run game. That means crashing to the ball and tackling. It's not like the Eagles' pass game is super complicated. They just have such a successful run game that they are able to use play action and kill you downfield with talented wide receivers. And Jalen Hurts is no scrub himself getting the ball to them. He also is mobile. So they just present a lot of challenges when the run game's going. If you can slow the run game down and make them a bit more one-dimensional, I think that gives the Ravens the best chance. Moving over to the Ravens offense against this Eagles defense. This Eagles defense has been playing really, really well. But so is the Ravens offense. We're ranked number one in almost every category. This is the best Ravens offense we've ever had in Raven history. Lamar Jackson is having his best season, leads the league in passing yards right now. He also has 500 plus rushing. I mean, Lamar Jackson is having an all-time season this year. And I know that the Eagles defense does present a lot of challenges, specifically their defensive line. But I think this Ravens offense is built to attack this defense, especially with Darius Slay out. And also the fact that the Eagles like to run a lot of light boxes. Now, we've seen a common theme this year with teams that run light boxes. I'm not saying that they're going to do that. They may change up because they're playing the Ravens with Derrick Henry, but they usually like to run lighter boxes. And we saw that earlier this season with the Buffalo Bills when they tried to do that. We saw that last week with the Chargers. The Ravens will run through teams if you don't stack the box. So you have to stack the box. If not, I think this is a huge Derrick Henry game. I know their defensive line is talented, but if you don't have more guys in that box crashing, hitting Derrick Henry behind the line of scrimmage, he's going to go off. There's no doubt about it. And if Derrick Henry's going off, the Ravens are going to be unstoppable because just like the Eagles, they feed off the run game. Lamar's going to go crazy. If we're having success on the ground, the play action's going to kill you. So I think the Eagles have to change up a little bit and stack the box. If they don't and they keep running light box and have a bunch of smaller dudes out in coverage, you're going to get ran through. So I do expect them to play a little bit bigger. I expect them to have more bodies in the box than they are used to. which obviously always makes you a bit more vulnerable downfield, and Darius Slay's missing. So however the Eagles end up playing this, whether they stack the box, keep more people in coverage, whatever they decide to do, I feel like the Ravens have an answer to it. That's why they're the number one offense in the league. They're truly multiple. Lamar said it many times. It's a pick your poison offense. What do you want to stop? You want to stop the run game? Lamar's going to kill you downfield. You want to drop everyone and run a lighter box and be, safer and more conservative in coverage? Derrick Henry's going to run through you. So it's just really hard to stop it all. I think the only defense that's really done that for the Ravens this entire season is Pittsburgh, and they just know the Ravens so well. They play a different style of ball, a lot of man coverage, a lot of people in the box, a lot of pressure. I just feel like the Eagles aren't used to playing that way, and that is a reason that the Ravens are 23-1 against NFC opponents in the Lamar Jackson era. That's a staggering number. And it's because when you don't play the Ravens offense and you don't see Lamar Jackson often, you realize how tough he is to bring down in the pocket. The Eagles could be getting pressure all day. They can have an elite D-line. We've seen a lot of strong defensive lines not get home, and it's not because our offensive line is that incredible. Offensive line's playing solid. They've played better than they did at the start of the season, but Lamar Jackson gets out of so much pressure, man. You'll have a wide open rusher. He just makes a juke, and now he's buying time out to the right, finding people downfield or taking off with his legs, and he's one of the most dynamic runners in the league. He's the most dynamic quarterback runner of all time. So I just really think that the Ravens offense poses just as many challenges to the Eagles defense, especially with Darius Slay out. It's not like the Ravens have scrub receivers. This is their best receiving core that they've ever had. Zay Flowers is top 5 in receiving this year in the NFL. Rashad Bateman's having a career year. We still got Deontay Johnson that we haven't even used that much. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. There's so many weapons in this pass game for the Ravens. It is a lot to think about, and I just feel like both offenses in this game are going to be able to move the ball. I don't care how well the Eagles defense has been playing. They have not played an offense like this, and they have one of their best secondary players not playing in this game. I really just can't see a scenario where the Ravens offense is getting stopped consistently. So I think there's a common theme on both sides of the ball here. I think the offenses have the advantage over both defenses, and I think that's just going to lead to a lot of yards and a lot of points. So let's get into my score prediction for this game. I got the Ravens winning a close one, 30-27. I think this is a back and forth nail biter. It honestly could go either way, but I'm giving the edge to the Ravens because they are at home. Their defense is on the rise. They're playing better week after week. This is the best offense we've ever had, and we're playing against an NFC opponent. I said earlier in this video, the Ravens are 23-1 against the NFC in the Lamar Jackson era. That is not to be understated. That is not for no reason. You know what I mean? We don't see the Eagles very often. They don't see us. And I think that works into our advantage with a guy like Lamar Jackson, who is just really tough to bring down and deal with. Not saying that the Eagles offense doesn't pose a ton of challenges. They definitely do. We both have dominant run games. I think that both offenses are able to play really well and put up some points against both defenses. That's why I got it 30-27. This should be an incredible game. I cannot wait for this game, but hoping the Ravens can find a way to pull out a win heading into a bye week. And then we got the Giants after that. I think the Ravens will really roll if we can find a way to beat the Eagles this Sunday. So go Ravens. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.